Now, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed with your new Eagle Eye 9, trust me, I've been there. When I first plugged this thing in, I felt like I needed a NASA degree just to fully understand it. But here's what I found. Once you dial it in and understand the few basic settings, this thing becomes one of the most powerful tools that you can have with you on the water. So today I'm going to walk you through the 8 things you need to do first in order to make this unit actually work for you. Let's hop in. The first thing is you're going to want to choose the right battery, right? This unit may be budget forward-facing sonar, but it still pulls a little bit of juice. So Lowrance says the Eagle Eye 9 draws about 0.65 amps at 12 volts with full backlight. Now, I've seen many people say after their time test to plan for a 1 amp hour draw if you're using all the bells and all the whistles. So translation, this is a 20 amp hour battery. It's going to last you around 20 hours on the water in perfect conditions. This is a 10 amp hour battery. It's going to last you for 10 hours on the water in perfect conditions. So if you're at the ramp or you're not using your sonar, it might be a good idea to toggle down the backlight or turn the sonar off to save some juice. Also, call me crazy, but I feel those big ones can feel that sonar ping. I've actually had people tell me once they scan big bass, a lot of them will jet like they've been there before and know the ending. So if you're on the big fish and you don't need your sonar anymore, it may be a good idea to toggle it off. I'll show you how to do that. Now, I use these batteries because they're like plug and play, right? The Aqua Pro battery kit, I'll throw the link in the description. But whatever you use, make sure you run a 3 amp inline fuse to protect your unit. And so this is what I have here. It's on there pretty good because it's waterproof. But if you want a plug and play system to get this thing powered so you can get out there on the water and using it, I'll throw those links below. So now let's talk about buttons and the interface basics. Now, the Eagle Eye 9 is not a touchscreen, and honestly it kind of makes sense for this price point. So that could be good, right? As we all know, touchscreens have a tendency to freak out when wet. And let's walk through all the buttons over here. Of course, this is going to be your power. So the power is going to do a variety of things. If you hold it down, it's going to turn it on and off. However, if you just do a quick button push, it's going to do backlight. See that? It gives you 4 options: bright, semi-bright, low bright, and like in the middle of the night. It's also going to bring up your system controls, is what you see here. Next, this right here is called your pages button, right? This is going to take you back home every time. So it's going to take you to your sonar charts. So it's really nice to know that button. Next, you're going to have your waypoint button. This is going to be up here. So you can press it once, do a new waypoint. You press it twice, you save that waypoint created. And if you hold it all the way down, it's going to take you to a find dialogue, which you can go in here and mess around with this if you want to. I see I just tried to hit that like it was a touchscreen. All right, head back to your home button. Next, you're going to have your arrow keys. Pretty simple, right? It's going to help you navigate on the screen, nothing crazy there. It's going to be your exit button, which is the X, and then your enter is going to be this down and to the left arrow, right? It's going to allow you to kind of bounce around, go to the previous screen if you want. And then you have your zoom keys. Of course, let's just go into a chart. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. However, a quick little note here that if you hit both at the same time and hold them down, it is going to do a man overboard, save location. So that's how you can quickly do that if you need to hit that in case you lose somebody on your vessel. And then down here, the 3 little hamburgers, I like to call them, if you hit that, it's going to pull up your settings on whatever page you're on. So let's go live sonar, hit enter. And this is a simulation file, but if you hit the settings button, it's going to show you all these options over here, which we'll get to in a little bit. But nonetheless, your settings is not going to work on every page. Like you go to the pages button, hit the settings, nothing's there. It's only going to work when you go into certain pages and the settings for those pages. And when you set those settings, it's going to save them for you. So the key here is to spend time bouncing around and fully understand how to navigate, because if you try to do this out in the water, it's going to be uber frustrating. Number 3 is going to be understanding what forward-facing sonar is actually showing you, right? So the magic of the Eagle Eye 9 is the forward view and the down view. Now, you don't need to change your transducer angle to get both, which is really nice. And so let's go over here to live sonar, hit enter. And this is going to be the down view. And so it's on a simulation mode, so you can see what's happening. You can see that lure dropping down to the fish. And on the down view, it shows everything happening, of course, directly underneath you. It's great for vertical jigging, great for drop shots, or staying locked onto a school like you see here. However, I'm going to hit the menu button, settings button. You can go up here into the mode. And if I click enter, it's going to give me an option to go to forward mode. And forward mode is you can see structure and fish ahead of your kayak or your boat or whatever it is. Perfect for watching fish react to your lure before they ever even get close. So this unit is also going to include chirp and downscan and fish reveal, all the things you probably never get into because you're using it primarily for live sonar. But you do not get side imaging or scout mode. And what scout mode is Lowrance really provides a wide panoramic bird's eye view by mounting the active target transducer horizontally. And this mode is ideal for quickly like scanning large shallow areas to find structure and brush piles and grass lines and bait balls and all that type of stuff, but does not come on this unit. And so this is what I highly recommend if you get to this. So you're out in the water for the first time, go to live sonar, go to forward view, and you want to start training your eyes. Right? Instead of going out there and just start scanning for fish, which a lot of people start doing and they get a bit frustrated, be prepared to spend some time and throw your jig out and just watch it fall. Right? Have a buddy paddle through the beam. Look at a dock pole or a stump and match it with what you see on the screen. Track your lure, cast it into your beam, follow it, switch between forward, down, chirp to see the same object from multiple angles. And also before you fish, calibrate where your beam is pointing, right? Aim at a buoy, aim at something that you can see out of the water that you know extends into the water, find it on the screen and lock that angle into your brain. And then do that at 20 feet, do that at 40 feet, do that at 60 feet, and your forward facing confidence will go through the freaking roof. But don't skip that step. Number 4, you want to utilize your color palettes that actually help you see fish. Now this is that IPS screen right here, in plane switching I believe it's called, really shines. And different color palettes can work better at different times of the day. So if you go over here to your settings, and we can go down to more options, hit enter, and this is where you're going to find your color palettes. You get 8 on live, however you get more on like the other options like the 2D and stuff like that you see. They don't give names to these, they're just kind of numbers. However, quick reference guide. Low light, you want to use those greens, the reds, the blues, they pop the best. Midday, that bright sun, those browns, oranges, and lighter blues are easier to see. This is on simulation mode, so it's not going to change it over so you can see it. And then night, where like bugs are freaking everywhere, right? Bright green, and really helps you keep your sanity. So a little pro tip here, use one palette in the morning, switch midday, and save your favorites to your custom views. And the custom views we'll talk about in just a moment. All right, so let's take this out of sim mode real fast. Exit real-time mode, pages. Live sonar. All right, so this is the live sonar. This is what's going to be out in front of your vessel here. And as you can see, this is going to be 10 feet, 20 feet, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, and this is going to be your depth. And so some of the things that you can do here is utilize your forward range and depth range. So your forward range out here is going to be your casting zone, right? That's what I want you to think about. And you can change that casting zone by hitting your settings, going down, forward range, and you can change this to 100 feet. 120, 150, 200. But here's something to think about, right? You're 40 to 60 feet. So let's say you put it at 70 to see out there. This is going to be perfect for, I don't know, kayak anglers. Really easy to read, easy to track your bait. At 20 to 30 feet, right? If you want to get real close, this is going to be really great for those tight creeks or fishing around docks, right? You really need that tight angle in there. And then you can go out as far as you want, but the 80 to 100 feet is really great for scanning those big flats. But you got to keep in mind, those targets, the further you get away, you get really tiny. So think of it like there's a camera zoom, right? The further you look, the smaller everything gets. And then you got your depth range, which you can also goof around with. However, I just end up keeping this at auto, which I highly recommend for you, right? It's a good starting point for down view. Really keeps the bottom centered and saves you time. Next, let's talk about the key sonar settings. So this is going to be what we see, say you're on forward mode, which we're on right now. Let me go back. And this is all you see. If you want to get into settings, go to your hamburger and drop it down. You're going to get a variety of different options here. Let me share what these mean right here. First, let's talk about contrast. This is going to control how hard fish and structure pop off of the background, right? So a lower contrast, you're going to get a softer image. You're going to get more blending. And a higher contrast is going to be that sharper, harder returns. Let's see if we can get it to do anything here. All right. Yeah, as you can see, you can't really see anything. As you go up, This is going to be the default at like 83%. You can start to see some things kind of pop. So you kind of goof around there and adjust it until fish look clean and crisp, not really blown out. Next, head back. You're going to have noise rejection, and you're going to get different options here. You're going to have off, low, medium, and high. And so you would use off if you want those raw returns. All right, it's going to give you the maximum detail. It's really great for deep jigging. Also, hello static. Ton of it. Think of low, medium, high as filters, right? So low is going to give you light filtering. It's clean, but it's detailed. It's really great for like kayaks or boats with clean power. What I'm talking about is noise rejection, keeping electrical noise out of your sonar so you can get that crisp, stable, forward-facing image. And dirty power comes from things like motors and cheap battery leads and undersized wiring and anything that really cause that voltage fluctuation. And so that electrical noise will show up on your screen as flickering and interference line and blurry targets and weak returns and just like random clutter. So if your battery is solid, your wiring is clean, and you're not sharing power with a noisy motor, the Eagle Eye 9 is going to give you a noticeably clearer, more stable, forward-facing sonar picture, which is one of the reasons I run a dedicated battery to it. So the medium is also going to be a medium filter. It's going to remove most sparkles and interference. It's really best general purpose setting and perfect for trolling motors on low. And then high is going to be your maximum filtering. It's going to be your cleanest screen, lose some small bait or light targets, really great for heavy chop or noisy setups. So really quick guide here. I would start low, go medium if you see sparkles, go high if your motor is cranking, turn off for max detail. Now you have the next setting. It's going to be surface clarity. You're going to get 4 options on this as well. And if you have it off, it's going to show everything near the surface. Great for shallow water or top water fishing, but clutter city when it is windy. Then you're going to get low. Low is going to cut a little bit of the clutter, but it still shows the important stuff in the top few feet. Medium is going to be great for choppy days. It hides the surface junk, but you'll lose some shallow fish. And then high is going to be max cleanup, right? Perfect for rough water or fast moving. You won't see bait or fish right under the surface. And so a really quick guide on your surface clarity. Calm, you can have it off. Light wind, low, chop, medium. If you're in rough water, you can put that on high. All right, now let's go back to pages and where you can actually customize your custom pages and drop waypoints. So this is really where the Eagle Eye unit becomes your unit. You can set up pages. You go down here to add page, hit enter. And let's say I want a chart and a live sonar, and I want to save that. Boom. Then you go back to pages and you'll have the chart and live sonar. So you can kind of make this however you want it to be. Maybe you want down only or chirp and down scan. So there's a variety of different ways that you can kind of set up the pages, and it'll save them for the next time that you hop in, which is kind of nice. So you can kind of customize it the way you want. Next, when it comes to waypoints up here, you get 3,000 of them. And so that's a lot of waypoints. It'll hold up to 100 routes and 100 trails. You can actually rename them. You can rename them in here with purpose. So for future you actually know what they mean, right? 3,000 is a lot to remember. If you just understand and can just cruise through the things I just shared with you, you're going to be way ahead of how most Eagle Eye 9 users are interfacing with this unit. The majority of people who get really expensive fish finders, a lot of times it ends up as really expensive ways to share with you how deep your water is and what the water temp is. Now, if you're like, hey, I'm not quite sure if a $999 forward-facing sonar unit is right for you, plus the battery, plus the mounts, plus the connections, well, I have a really great budget fish finder. The Garmin Striker 4 did a review on those right there. And also kind of a mid-range between that unit and the Eagle Eye 9 is going to be the Garmin UHD 92 or 93 SV. And I got that video for you right there. Thanks for watching, guys. See ya.